Hi, Coach Rob here again for another video log. I'm trying to knock out a couple of these at a time to make up for some losses. They said, unfortunately, I've recorded a bunch of these and I intended them for Facebook a while back. And for whatever reason, they were just taking forever to upload. I recently went back and took a look through about 25 that never made it out. And quite honestly, I'm really unhappy with the video quality. So I'm not necessarily going to recover some of those topics a while back. I might do a little bit of that, but something popped up on my radar. In the last video log, I talked a little bit about cadence, both for cyclists, runners, and maybe to a lesser extent, swimmers. But very recently, there was a fantastic article, I'm trying to remember, Martin Fritz, someone or another, on Outside Online. The Outside magazine has been one of my favorites. I've been reading and was a subscriber to Outside many years ago, specifically when I was doing a lot of hiking and rock climbing back in my mid to late 20s. And fantastic magazine. If you're not familiar with it, maybe you've never spent any time checking out the online edition, I strongly advise it. It's not a fluff piece. They do great work. But in this person was talking about kind of the silliness of trying to compare the distances between a 1 mile run and an ultra run, and that distance is king. And I'm saying that this is what this person's talking about, but it's really led me to think about a few things. And you'll often hear me say, whether it's the podcast articles or in person or on coaching calls, that there's a number of words we all use as coaches. It depends, and we need to focus on the specifics. So when you're talking about someone who's training for an ultra run, as you can anticipate, there's going to be a lot of long, slow, steady work that's going to be done. Whereas someone who is training for the mile and trying to get a PR at the mile or set a record at the mile, you're going to quite frequently find that we're going to be doing some other things that maybe the ultra runner would not be doing. We may spend a significant amount of time working on muscle endurance and force and improving contractions in the functioning or the functional portions of your body to support you in a high intensity 1 mile effort. That's not to say that an ultra runner is not going to spend some time on strength and conditioning. They certainly will, but it's not going to be the same kinds of work, because you're looking at not necessarily in apples and oranges. It's still a body moving through space. You're still looking at a lot of the same biomechanics. The difference is the strain, the wear, the tear that you're putting into your body. Nutrition's going to be different. Recovery is going to be different. Yes, you're going to have a lot of the similar things. You're not going to necessarily eat as much as you're focused on a mile, whereas in ultra running, you're going to be doing a lot of eating. Whether you're an ultra cyclist or an ultra runner or an ultra swimmer, quite often what I hear from folks that are doing things like this, and people that I've coached, and myself included, is you feel like that all you do is move your legs and eat, move your legs and eat. Whereas when you're focused on things around the very short duration, high intensity efforts, track related, whether it's the velodrome or track and field, you're going to find that your nutritional needs are vastly different than if you're doing really long duration work. So I have a problem with saying one thing's tougher to do than another. I don't think we can do that in these scenarios. They're different. They're just very different. And I don't think that the author I think that's what they were getting at, is that, it's kind of a silly assertion that one thing is harder than another just because of the duration that you do it in. I have certainly done my fair share of 1 mile tests, and it's one of the most brutal things I've ever done in my life. Imagine running as hard as you can for 1 mile. It's very difficult to pace. The moment you think you've got it licked, your body is screaming at you to quit. It's not going to be much different than if you're running a half marathon, a marathon, or an ultra. There are going to be points in time along the way. You may feel like you're plodding, as slow as an entry-level 5K runner, but you know what? You've been doing it for hour after hour. Eventually, the body's going to do the same thing. So I'm not trying to say that there's a direct comparison between the two. I just thought it was an interesting article. I just wanted to put my take out there, especially for those folks that I work with that are runners. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your training week, and we'll talk again very soon.